Good afternoon. I am Zia Wiley, and I'm the Interim Associate Provost for Diversity. I'm so honored to be here and as well as excited to be part of this great event. This is part of our annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Observance Week, where we're so pleased that at K-State, we know that we are one of the only universities that has a week-long celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his works. So today we get to celebrate two individuals. As usual, we always have a great group who have been submitted for this great award. And today you're going to get to hear them introduced with some of their great attributes, as well as get to hear their responses. So this is a great day for all of us in the K-State family. I would like to thank the Commerce Bank and our president, Tom Giller, and their great support, and because they allow us to celebrate us. And, you know, we don't get to do that all the time. So I just would like to publicly thank our Commerce Bank Award, or not the Commerce Bank representatives. I would also like to acknowledge the other individuals who were nominated, and if they're here, we'd like for them to stand. And if not, I'd like to publicly make you aware who they are. In the faculty staff nominations were Dr. Amanda Morales, who is the assistant professor in the College of Education Diversity Coordinator. Dr. Tanya Gonzalez, assistant professor in the Department of English. Dr. Carrie Keller, the Director of Career Employment Services, and Dr. Doris Wright Carroll in the College of Education. Please join me in applauding their efforts of being submitted. Our student nominee was Ubicela Toledo, and she's a junior and her major is biology. Is she here? Well, please join me in applauding her application as well. Again, this is a great event. I'd like to welcome all of you, our platform guests, as well as our families. You know, we celebrate everyone that has been nominated and the individuals that are receiving the awards. So without further ado, I would like to have our president of the Commerce Bank to bring us greetings.
Thank you very much. Earlier, I almost thought you said Dr. Tom Giller, but I'm not quite there. It works for me, but I think I have some hours of work to put in. There you go. Thank you. I'm going to talk about two key points, but I'm going to try to keep it in about 2 minutes. And a couple of the colleagues from Commerce Bank, Rich and Carrie, are in the back. And usually at the bank, if I say I'm going to give a short speech, there's usually smiles on their faces. So here we go. But these are two key important areas that I and the bank and the William T. Kemper Foundation feel are important. So number one is Commerce Bank, the William T. Kemper Foundation. I appreciate the partnership with the KSU Diversity Program. We look at it as an honor to support it, and so we want to thank you for the partnership and the friendship that we have. And the second area is just congratulations to our two winners. Year after year, looking through the group of individuals that are nominated and the winners, and then being here and hearing their speeches, and seeing all that they do for the betterment of K-State and diversity and everything that they do, it's a special to be nominated and outstanding to be a winner. Justice, the first time I met you was over here about 10 minutes ago, but I was very, very impressed. And one of the things that stood out to me was that you're involved with the KSU Black Student Union. And that's a special group, and I know that they consistently win awards as the best in like the Big 12. And that doesn't happen without outstanding individuals. And you've been president, and right now you're past president. So thank you for all you do, and congratulations on your award. And then the second person, and gosh, we go way, way back, and I'm so glad, is Dr. Myron Gordon. Your years of dedicated service to Kansas State University and to diversity are outstanding. This group can't thank you enough for all that you've done. We're going to miss you, but I know you have taught us well and put the spirit in us that'll remain forever. So congratulations on your award. And I think I'm through with my 2 minutes, so I'll go ahead and sit down and let the next person come up. Thank you.
You can tell I'm really short, right? Thank you again. We really appreciate he set the tone for us, for you to be ready to receive the recipients of this award. For those of you, I hope you all have a program, but after each recipient is recognized, we're asking for a picture to be taken after the recognition, and then if you could give your remarks, and we ask that you join them in the picture when they receive the award as well. And with the picture could be right here, please. So our first recognition will be of our student awardee, and that's by Brian Williams, who is our assistant director in admissions. Brian.
I'm glad Dr. Wiley pulled this down because, we knew it was going to happen eventually anyway. So I was very careful to write my remarks word for word because I know I'm an alpha and we can get the going on this mic way too long. So I want to try to make sure my words for justice are as short and sweet as they can be, but also as descriptive of the contributions that she has given this university as I can. So I've had the privilege to work with Justice on issues of diversity and multiculturalism since her freshman year. Although I do not have time to discuss everything, she's done quite a lot. I do have time to share a story with you. In the spring of 2014, BSU was in the midst of its election season. We were looking for our next president, and I approached Justice about the position, as it was obvious to me that she had the leadership pedigree to inherit such a task. As all presidents, she was nervous, and she said that she didn't believe she was ready, and how she didn't want to mess this thing up, and all these other things that, once again, most student leaders are bound to do. So being an advisor, I tried to assure her that everything would be okay. I told her that, next year won't be that bad, I promise. After some convincing, she believed me and decided to run for the president under the theme, the few, the proud, the dream. Little did any of us know what would be coming to America, the community, and our society over the next 12 to 15 months. Michael Brown in Ferguson, Eric Garner in New York, Tamir Rice in Ohio, Freddie Gray in Baltimore, Walter Scott in South Carolina, and the list went on and on and on throughout that whole year. And we were still reeling as a community from the Trayvon Martin and Jordan Davis situations, but never in our lifetime did we think we would come to such a racially charged society. It was the most racially contentious society of my lifetime, and especially my students' lifetime. These incidents and many others created a level of stress and mental anxiety that I've never seen from our students before. The community was constantly angry, and rightfully angry, fearful, and disheartened, raising the question that came from the ground-swelling movement of that year: do Black lives matter? Justice, a person that I promised, by the way, that the year would not be that bad, was suddenly BSU president in a racially conscientious society. Through a series of protests and demonstrations, Justice gave her members an avenue to express their frustration, as well as inform campus of the heightened uncertainty that was on the everyday mind of Black students. Unfortunately, instead of gaining empathy from fellow students who had the privilege of not being confronted with these issues on a day-to-day basis, some university K-Staters decided it was a great idea to get to social media and post some of the most vile, racist, racially insensitive, outright racist comments that I've ever seen directly from anyone. It was really a dark time to be a K-Stater. But this is where Justice's leadership shined. Instead of reacting on the anger that she had and her fellow BSU members felt, she responded with an open letter that condemned those who would attack students in their time of need. Her December 4th, 2014 Collegian article, Black Student Union Responds to Campus Racism, it's still one of the most read Collegian articles in the history of their website. Even today, there are over 6,500 views on that one article alone. To put some context to it, a lot of our major football games never get over 2,000. It was a letter that opened the eyes and softened the hearts of even the most racially insensitive students and faculty on campus. It sparked various community conversations, ongoing events with the K-State Staley School of Leadership Studies and BSU, that brought a cross-section of people of all K-State together in dialogue about racism, but more importantly, how to be intentional and practical and aggressive in challenging these issues on our campus and coming up with solutions. It led to discourses with the K-State Greek system about race and collaborations with mostly white, by the way, Manhattan allies, as we talked and discussed how to create a positive environment with the police force here in Riley County and how to address some of the disparities that are seen in the arrest of African American as opposed to whites in our own community right here in our backyard. Her leadership has literally led to a paradigm shift in regards to race at K-State. Because of this, I'm happy to be able to nominate and recognize not just my mentee anymore, but my friend, my colleague, my peer, and one of the most inspirational people that I have ever known. Please give a round of applause for Ms. Justice Davis.
Wow. Thank you so much, guys. I thank everybody. Thank you, Brian, for those words, first of all. And I'll say a lot of the things that I want to say in my speech. So, but just thank you guys for being here. Just thank you so much. It's an honor and truly a humbling experience to stand in front of you all today and receive this distinguished award. I thank Commerce Bank for supporting all of those who have contributed to enhancing diversity at K-State. I thank the Selections Committee and the Office of Diversity that allowed me to be a part of the phenomenal group of student honorees, many of whom I have looked up to. It is even more humbling to be among K-State giants who have incredibly impacted my life more than anyone could ever imagine. But before I talk about what this award means to me and the value of diversity and multiculturalism, I must stop and thank those who have raised me and who have molded me. First, I thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for blessing me with this opportunity. My family has always taught me to keep my faith first and to stay grounded. My faith has definitely carried me throughout my time here at K-State. And some of my family could not be here today, but I can't go on without acknowledging their influence on my life. I thank my siblings for being my first best friends, for being more understanding than anyone else in my life. When I feel like giving up, I think of my little sister, suddenly, who I admire or her ability to persevere. I watch her take care of my nephew, work, and still go to school, and I'm reminded that I can make it. I thank my stepdad, who selflessly raised me like I was his own flesh and blood. He has showed me that the quietest person in the room can have the loudest of impacts. I thank my father for showing me strength and courage. I thank him for not only serving our country, but allowing his service to provide for me and my little brother. Even when he was hundreds of miles away from us, he still felt close. He has taught me to value depth over distance. I thank my mother, who supports me through thick and thin, a true representation of unconditional love. Without my mom, I would have never known how to adapt to life circumstances. I thank her for teaching me how to be passionate, for revealing the poet in me. She has taught me just how we can turn life's trivial moments into the most beautiful lessons. She had me at 15 years old, and many people may not know our story and what we've been through, but our past tribulations became my testimony. Romans 8:18 says, "For I consider that your present sufferings will not compare to the glory that will be revealed in you." I thank her for teaching me how to overcome and bounce back from life's defeats. I thank my Aunt Tootie, who's here today and who always supports me in all of my endeavors. I can count on her to be seated right by my grandma, right there, at every milestone event in my life. I thank her for her prayers, the cards, and motivational text messages. Now I thank my grandmother. I always refer to her as my mama first and my best friend second. I thank her for being my rock, for always being there even when no one else would. Thank you for being my best proof that God places angels in our lives who somehow manage to put the needs of others in front of their own. Thank you, Grandma, for listening to my joyful times, to my heartaches, to my stresses, to my goofy times, to every rough draft poem I've ever written. Thank you for answering the phone, knowing that you may not get a word in because I talk too much. Thank you for showing me that with God, anything is possible. Thank you for praying with me every morning for 4 years, and even when I didn't pray for myself, you still prayed for me. I appreciate you. And I know I've stressed all of you out, all my family out, and got on you guys' nerves plenty of times in my life, especially during my endless debates and stubbornness, but I hope I made you guys proud. When I first came to K-State, I was a timid, shy, and sort of quiet and awkward freshman, unsure of who I was and where I was going. I knew that I wanted to join the Black Student Union, but I would have never guessed in a million years that the people I would come to know through BSU would be my family. I would have never guessed that the values and principles I would learn from BSU would be life-changing, that the people I would meet would be life-changing. Brandon Clark, he's dedicated his life to serving his students. He has advised me within BSU and now the Big 12 Council of Black Student Government every step of the way. Every last-minute phone call when I procrastinate on things and have a billion questions, every time I needed reassurance, he was always there. I look up to his leadership and guidance, and he's one of the classiest guys that I know, and I thank him for his attention to detail that helped mold me. Dr. Maya Gordon, she has taught me how to be proud to be Black, how to stand in front of crowds and own it, to believe in something way bigger than myself, and to not sway from what I know is right, even if I'm the only one standing. Dr. Martin Luther King once said, "When you are right, you can't be too radical." So I thank Dr. Gordon for her teaching me and all of us to be radical for change. I thank her for the power that molded me. Dr. Jessica Elmore, she taught me how to strategically plan and how to successfully implement. Her wisdom was allowed me to have so many light bulbs turn on in my head. She never gets annoyed when I pop up in her office randomly and end up talking to her for hours. I thank her for her insight that molded me. Now, Dr. Dawn Martin, she showed me how to be genuine and compassionate to others. And when I decided to change my major and go into the College of Business, she took me under her wings without hesitation. She shared resources that helped me land a career, and I thank her for her sincerity that helped mold me. Finally, Brian Williams. This man has been an advisor, a mentor, a friend, and my motivation to keep pushing. He has always saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. I would have never thought that I would be able to be the president of such a dominant organization on campus, but he sparked something in me to be able to lead, to be able to organize, to protest, to be able to speak in front of large audiences beyond poetry. He ignited the activist in me, and I sincerely thank him for his encouragement that molded me. My close friends, they taught me that blood wouldn't make us any closer. I thank them for their support that molded me. My sorority sisters, the Eta Gamma chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, Sorority Incorporated, they encouraged me to strive and grow. They have taught me the value in serving the community and the value of being surrounded by empowered Black women. I thank them for their sisterhood that molded me. See, all of these people have had a tremendous impact on shaping me. I went from a freshman who wore a sundress with a blazer and sandals to our first BSU interview. That was my professional business attire. I went from that to the leader you are looking at today. I went from being completely oblivious to issues that we face not only on campus, but in our country and dealing with social justice and progressiveness, to being hungry for more enlightenment and cultural consciousness. See, diversity is more than just our differences. It is sharing a common goal of equity, fairness, and justice. It is recognizing that there are things that make us unique and sets us apart, but it's also appreciating that uniqueness. It is advocating for one's rights without the expense of others. Diversity is being able to embrace multiculturalism. It's being Black, it's being Hispanic, Asian, and white, but not letting skin color, sexual orientation, or religion cause us to belittle one another. It's realizing that we are far from perfect, but we are still working. It's realizing that our past may shape us, but we shape our future. It's building upon the legacy of the Dr. Kings, the Malcolm X's, the Huey P. Newtons, the Harry Belafontes, the Rosa Parks, the Michelle Alexanders, the long list. It's being able to stand up for injustices. It's being the voice for the marginalized. It's unity, it's agreement, it's conflict with solutions, it's fulfillment, it's being the talented 10th and embodying Sankofa. It's waking up every morning like you are on a mission to save something or someone. And I remember last year when I was still president of BSU, I got so overwhelmed one night when everything was going on, from the backlash, from the protests, to planning meetings and trying to keep up with my schoolwork. On the way home from BSU one night, I called my grandmother and started to cry. Like, I bawled. I was super stressed out, and I didn't know what to do. I felt like my work didn't have any value. I felt like we weren't going anywhere, and I seriously felt like giving up that night. So I called my grandma, and I couldn't even get my words out. I was just hysterical on the phone. And my grandma so calmly said, "Justice, whatever you're doing, just stop." She said, "Go home, go in your room, don't do anything, stop and breathe." And then she told me to pray. Just pray. Don't do homework, don't talk to my friends, just pray and breathe. I did exactly what she told me to do, and it worked. I felt like a boulder had been lifted from my back, like God himself took every burden I had and tossed it to the side. That taught me that there will be times where you don't want to do anything else but quit. It showed me that everyone reaches their breaking point, and there will be times where work feels worthless, where no one will understand you, and sometimes all you can do is stop. All you can do is take a deep breath and breathe out slow, like the world has paused to give you peace. Everything will be all right, and this is worth fighting for. So this award means so much more to me than just recognition. I will let this award serve as a reminder of the people who helped mold me. It will remind me that it takes a village. It will remind me of Ubuntu, I am because we are. It will remind me of Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. in room 227. It will remind me of the protests, the nasty yik-yak comments, the leadership conversation cafes, the widespread campus support, the triumphs, the defeats, and the victories. It will remind me that I can take things to a deeper level, reach higher heights, be the few, the proud, the dream, and inherit the revolution. It will remind me of long planning nights with Brian. It will remind me of strategizing with Clark. It will remind me of the countless talks and revelations with Jess. It will remind me of the diligence of Dr. Martin, of the power, dignity, and motivational speeches of Dr. Gordon. It will remind me of every key faculty member and student at this university that I'll call family. It will remind me that K-State is where it all began. But now it's time to take everything I've learned and use my experiences to help me conquer future feats. I will always remember the true meaning of diversity and multiculturalism, and I owe it to my K-State family for that realization. And I will end with an excerpt from an ideology that was instilled in me during my freshman year at K-State. W.E.B. Du Bois coined the expression "the talented 10th" in a 1903 essay called "The Negro Problem." He said, "The Negro race, like all races, is going to be saved by its exceptional men. The problem of education, then, among Negroes must first of all deal with the talented 10th. It is the problem of developing the best of this race that they may guide the mass away from the contamination and death of the worst in their own and other races." To my family, friends, mentors, advisors, and fellow Wildcats who have molded me to become a part of the talented 10th, I love you, I appreciate you, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much, Dr. White.
Thank you so much, Justice. So the theme this year is never stop pursuing the dream. So when you hear one of our students, our graduating seniors like Justice Davis, and she presents that, we know our future's in good hands and why we should never stop pursuing the dream. So thank you so much, Justice. Now, we have the opportunity to recognize our faculty staff awardee, and we have Dr. Don Martin, Assistant Dean for Diversity in the College of Business, to present. Dr. Martin.
You know, I think a lot of the faculty who we get used to kind of screaming in classrooms, we're really not very good at this thing. So I'll try to keep my voice low. I am so pleased, proud, whatever, to be able to introduce Dr. Gordon. And I'm just going to talk about one or two of the things that she's done, because you all know that she has made an incredible impact here at Kansas State. There were a lot of wonderful diversity initiatives going on before she got here, but she kind of brought us all together, right? Brought everything together and started us all moving in the same direction. So Dr. Gordon joined us in 2002, and at that same year, I believe, we got the Higher Education Commission report that said we were very deficient in diversity. The report that came out, what was it, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it was, yep, actually found our programs exemplary. And that is particularly because of the things that Dr. Gordon has done. So just let me list a couple of them. I'll be very brief and to the point. First of all, Dr. Gordon was the first, I believe, to develop a university-wide strategic plan for diversity. As part of that strategic plan, she really introduced this infrastructure for diversity that has moved us so far forward, putting assistant deans in the colleges, having diversity point people that were available to help with a variety of things. The outcome of that, by the way, she also did the first diversity fundraising. And those are the funds that allow us to implement the programs that have resulted in the, what is it, 100 and, I gotta look at my notes here. 106% increase in enrollment in multicultural students since that time. And the college and the university have now become the school of choice for our multicultural students across the state, and actually outside of the state too, right? So outside of the state too. Excuse me. So we're now up to, I don't know what we were when I got here. I think we were at like 2% of the student body were multicultural. I don't know how big it was, but there weren't very many, because I remember I was on the first diversity committee that the College of Business had, and we would look around the classrooms, and I'm like, there's nobody here. So we have now gotten to the point where at the university as a whole is 14.9% of our student body are domestic multicultural students. So just a couple of quick things. I think the grants and opportunities, she's done international work, so many different things, but the big thing is that she has created a vision that we can now follow and put in place an infrastructure that I hope will continue to be very successful, moving us towards a whatever, the next 10 years or 15 or whatever. So Dr. Gordon, please come join us. We are so proud to have you here and have you back. So. I'm going to get over here so that Tom doesn't fall off. There you go. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Is that too low? But if I get it up here high enough, you should be. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you.
Here you go. I don't want to put that down too hard.
Aw, thank you. Now, you know this feels weird. Like I don't belong up here at all. I'm so used to being on the other side of this. And so to be up here on this side of it just seems very, very weird. But you know, I want to share maybe, first of all, that I have actually just been a poor stand-in for someone else. Because quite a few years ago, when I first became part of the Commerce Bank Award Selection Committee, the person running the committee was Reggie McGowan. And I thought it was an amazing committee. I had never seen an award like this. I had been in a number of institutions, of course. I had never seen an award like this. I saw how long-standing the award had been, which to me was an indication of just how visionary Commerce Bank was at a time when, you know, diversity and inclusion wasn't so in vogue. But they were thinking about identifying, recognizing, and rewarding people who were exercising leadership at that time. This was at the very beginning of our serious considerations about what we should be doing about campus diversity promotion. I just thought that was amazing. So I just thought it was great to be in the room. I wanted to learn, I wanted to support, I wanted to help. And so I had a couple of years of very good experiences on this committee with Dr. McGowan. Then, as it turned out, he was not well, as many of you in the room may know, and was leaving the committee. But was leaving the committee for a while, and asked me if I would take care of the committee for him until he came back. I said, well, me, not me, moi? No. What about some of these other people that have been on the committee? He says, yes, these individuals, of course, have served on a committee. He says, but you're the person that I would like to take care of this committee while I'm away, if you're willing to do that. I said, well, of course, I'm willing to do whatever I'm asked. I'm willing to do it. I said, I'll do it to the best of my ability. But fortunately, there are people around on the committee that, you know this process better, have gone through it, and can help me. And so I can be a facilitator of anything, sure. I'd be glad to do it. Well, we also know that Reggie wasn't able to come back to us. And I more or less then had the committee and worked with the committee. People who've been on this committee know it's one of my favorite committees because you see all this fabulous work that people are doing. You see it documented in great detail. Some of it you know, most of it you don't know. And then some of the people you know, but then some of the people you don't know. And so when you're on this committee and you get these nomination packets in and you read these amazing letters of recommendation and how people are viewed and how people are appreciated and all of that, I mean, it was just really just such a privilege to be on this committee. Every year, someone would come to me and say, you know, Dr. Gordon, we're going to nominate you for that award, for that student award. And I would say, you can't nominate me for that student award. You can't nominate me for anything. I said, because my job is to serve the committee. That's my job. I'm taking care of the committee. That's my job. Well, in this last year, I'm glad the opportunity to be nominated came around again. You know, sometimes you say no, 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 and then no one ever asks you again. I remember my grandmother told me one time, you never know when the last man to ask you to marry him is going to be the last man to ask you to marry him. So be cool with that no, 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 okay? And waiting for this and waiting for that, because you don't know when the last one to ask is going to be the last one to ask. I was like, oh, God. Okay, I never thought about that. And then Tony came along and said, hi, and I said, yeah. Oh, no. I'm sorry, I'm just messing with you. So I'm glad the opportunity came around one more time. And this time, I said, okay, I'm cool with this, but this is a little weird. And so, fortunately, during the whole deliberation process and everything, I wasn't even here. I was here dealing with my mom. Anybody who knows anything about last semester also knows that my mom and I went through hell. So I wasn't even here. But I guess I want to say some thank yous. The first thank you I want to say is to every single person that you see in that booklet going all those many years back. That is one amazing group of human beings and what they've done for this campus and continue to do. Because a lot of them are in this room. They didn't just work that year they got the award. They were working the years before that. They worked the year of the award, and they've been working every year since then. And so the first thing I want to do as somebody who's been a diversity professional is that, look, I just want to say thank you to all those people, because those are the people who've been on the point, both the students and the faculty, staff, and administrators. These are the people who have been on the point. And for a lot of the time, for little to no recognition. Certainly wasn't their job to do these things, okay? But they took it as their responsibility. Wasn't their job, but they took it as their responsibility. And then they poured their hearts and soul into something that they knew was very right to do. Right for the students, right for the institution, and right for the time. So the first people I want to recognize and thank are those people. All those people who have come before. I love being the one that comes in the end. Okay, so that I can recognize all those who have come before, because sometimes we forget to do that. We think things happen when we arrived. Pretty much not much happens when we arrive. It's all the stuff that happened before, and that happens with everybody else once you get there, and then moving into the future. So I want to thank all those people. I want to thank all those people. And K-State will never forget what these people have done, because thanks to Commerce Bank, we have a permanent historical record of these people that will last long, long, long after we ourselves are gone. But I'm hoping and praying this award will be here, and if this award is here, then those people will be here. The second thing the second thanks that I want to give is to the university itself, because K-State is a very unique place. I've been all over the country. I know the diversity programs. I know the diversity people all over the country. And I can tell you what we have done here at K-State, good, bad, or indifferent, but mostly good, okay, is unparalleled across the country. It just is. And I want to thank K-State for being the kind of place that will allow us to set this mark, to be the one that others want to follow, to wish that they could do these things on their campus. And part of it has to do with how student-centered we are generally. This is K-State's way, okay? But how we value and work with our multicultural students. That's unparalleled. How we lift these students up, how we bring them in from wherever they come from, however they come to us. Sometimes they come to us in their mothers' and fathers' fine cars, and that's fine. Okay, sometimes they come to us from the suburbs of some of our larger cities, and they're doing fine. They're not first generation anything, okay? But they need what K-State can do for them, all right? But more of them, the vast majority of them, come to us as first generation students. They don't know a whole lot about what higher education has to offer, but what they do know is that that's their exit ramp. from whatever the circumstance is that they have found themselves in, they know education is their exit ramp. And that everything that they hope to do, every aspiration they have, is going to be realized on the backs of a very, very good education. These students, we bring them here from every kind of circumstance. We have brought them in here living in their car, okay? Cleaning up in the convenience store bathrooms, living with their friends, and every other very difficult, unimaginable situation they can be in. But herein is the K-State magic. And this is why I say to people everywhere, oh, there's no place like K-State. They're like, oh, yeah, that's that Kansas stuff, ain't it? Ain't no place like home, huh? I said, look, there ain't no place like K-State. Say what you will, all right? We bring them here, and then we start subjecting them to the K-State process, where we invest in these kids, where we get to know these kids, where we build the most incredible relationships with these kids, where we bend way over backward and then bend again and again. Larry Mader, my partner, and I swear to God, if he and I have not bounced 1,000 kids between his office and, well, and the Office of Diversity. Excuse me, the Office of Diversity. I mean, we don't spare one single effort when some people don't even do the things that they could do easily. We'll try to do the impossible. And as a result, this is the most nurturing, the most empowering, the most enabling, the most affirming, and the most self-actualizing environment that I know anything about. That's K-State. I'm always going to love and support K-State because I know what K-State does for all of its students, and I know how special it is the way they treat our multicultural students. So I'm very, very grateful to K-State. I'm hoping and praying that K-State will continue this. I'm sure it will. There were definitely dynamics related to this before I came here, and I know there will be dynamics related to this long after I'm gone. Long, long after I'm gone. And then the third thing is, I just want to say, I am so grateful for the leadership of our students. Without the leadership of our students, I'm telling you, social justice would be in a hurt, a major hurt. Because it's our students that are always on the front line. Our students are always there, calling us to our best selves. Our students are always there, being idealistic, being ready to sacrifice, being ready to be ridiculed, but ready to stand up, speak out, and help America be its best self. Of course, multicultural people were not in the American equation, stood very far outside of the American equation. But multicultural people have fought their way into that equation and has been forcing America to live up to its dream, live up to its creed, actually be inclusive, okay? The lack of inclusivity started with the U.S. and all of our founding documents. So I'm grateful. I am very, very grateful for all of those who've come before. I am tremendously grateful that we've all had the opportunity to be in this place because we're all better for having been in this place. And we have set the mark. We have set the mark. And I am very, very grateful to these students, to their leadership. When I first met this child and she told me her name was Justice, I was like, Justice? Your name is Justice? Well, you better grow your little self into that name. Because you know, in Africa, your name really means something. Your name really means something. The ancestors already knew something about you long before you emerged out of the ether waves. They already knew what your name was going to be. They already knew your journey. They already knew what you were going to have to do. I said, her name is Justice. Well, let's go to work on justice. Let's go to work on justice, and let's help her realize her best self. Let's go to work on all these kids. Let's help every single one of them realize their best self. Because in them realizing their best selves, American society is going to realize its best self. I want to thank you all very much for this award. It's been a pleasure to see you all again. I will see you again sometime in the future, but it's all good. It's all good, and I thank you so very, very much for everything. God bless you.
So congratulations to both our recipients. Thank you, Dr. Myra Gordon. Thank you, Justice Davis. Now, we need to recognize the committee that made the selection. So if any of our committee members that are here, would you please stand? We recognize the other nominations. So our committee members, I know our chair, Kay, and so thank you. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you very much. Along with the committee, I would also like to recognize the Office of Diversity. Milton Chavez, who has really been the leader with our Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Week. I don't see her. I know Caitlin. Is Caitlin Wells here? Okay, great. Well, Milton's probably at the table, but I want to publicly recognize her and thank everyone in the Office of Diversity for really making this a reality, as well as this week. Now, before we have one change, and that is we can have LaBarbara Wigfall as well as Tamaya Rao, if she's here, if they could come. And while they're coming up to the podium, I would like to ask you to please participate in all of our activities. You will see the posters that are around campus. And also, on tomorrow, we have the College of Business Diversity Lecture, and that'll be in Forum Hall with the speaker with Corporate Diversity and Inclusion at Hallmark, Michael Gonzalez. Then we'll have the second annual Civil Rights Teach-In, and that's with the College of Arts and Sciences. And then our annual MLK and Candlelight Visual, and that's hosted by Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, our longest standing event that has taken place for our Martin Luther King activities. And after that, we'll have our hot chocolate social, and that'll be sponsored by Leadership Studies. So if LaBarbara and Tamaya, if you could join us. Thank you.
Thank you all. I must say that this is just a great opportunity that a group of people in the university have put together an organization or group, if you will, called EDI Group, and we'll explain that in a minute. The group, the intent of the group actually is to continue the voices and discussion of diversity. And this is a perfect opportunity for us to launch our project this spring because we're recognizing some fantastic individuals who've made extraordinary contributions to our campus, and Justice and Dr. Gordon. And so I believe we're passing around some information that will help you a little bit. The project that we are initiating is one that came out of Cats for Inclusion in Leadership Studies. And one of my students, Hector Ramirez, who is right now in Mexico doing an internship, conceived an idea that we could voice or express our opinions of diversity on our campus through the construction walls in the Union, and brought that forth to me and a number of other people. And I think you'd see on the back page the EDI group, and you can see who's part of that.
And we began to pursue this last fall. The idea is that we are launching 72 feet of wall space in the Union that we hope you will help us fill by participating and providing to us in the next 3-4 weeks, and there's a deadline here, a 36 by 48 inch piece of art. Now, I know we're all busy, and I know we all think, well, I'm not an artist, but if you look at the first paragraph on the back, the artist in you could be a poet, could be a short story, could be just words. Justice is a perfect time for you to put that on board. It could be mixed media, photography, any way that you would like to express diversity or what it isn't. And I'm not just talking about our students. I'm going to call upon my administrators, staff, faculty to be a part of an initiative on our campus where we are not asking our students to lead, but we're asking our faculty, staff, administrators to lead our students and the university's attitude about diversity. So this is something that when you see this brochure will be up on Cats for Inclusion's website. You can print it off. You can submit work to us in the next couple of weeks. All of the work submitted will be photographed and up on the website through Leadership Studies. This is an exhibit that we are partnering with the union to do. I'm so excited about this, and I'm saying that this is the first thing that EDI Group is gonna do. This is not the last thing we're gonna do. We want to be expressions of diversity initiative on this campus. And right now, you can thank Hector because he left me in charge. So I'm hoping that we get people to do something in this arena, that we get this work up. You'll see that south wall as you come across the garage into the union and all the way around to the MSO office. And all of that blank space needs to be covered by work by you. So I look forward to see what you all will produce. I'm excited about it. Go tell your students, encourage anyone that you know to be about the expression of our university about diversity. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and we hope all of you participate. Now we'll have Dr. Kayan Taylor to join us here. She'll give us our closing remarks, and after her remarks, we wish you a well evening. Thank you for your attendance. Dr. Taylor?
Well, I am excited about LaBarbara's project that she described because I have undergraduate and graduate students both who do some phenomenal creative and artistic finals, so I'm hoping we may be able to contribute to that. As our theme, Never Stop Pursuing the Dream, reminds us, and as our award recipients today have reminded us as well, social justice is a verb, not a noun. It requires purposeful action in perpetuity. We pursue the dream for equity, equality, and social justice for all, not only when it's convenient, not only when it supports our interests, but constantly, continually. Our award recipients, Dr. Myra Gordon and Justice Davis, our finalists, previous recipients, are our role models and guides with the leadership and support of our Commerce Bank allies. Just as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, in his perilous and courageous time, we continue to face the fierce urgency of now, as recent events across this country graphically demonstrate to us. And while these events may appear recent to some, they aren't new. They are ingrained, structural, institutionalized, long-standing. They have reawakened the American consciousness to the perverse injustices we continue to face. As stated astutely in his November 2015 letter to faculty and staff, President Schultz reminds us, quote, "We must work hard and persist. Just because we may be in front now doesn't mean that we will always be in front. Instead, we must keep working and listening and adopt an attitude as a community that inclusivity is a fundamental and sincere core value at K-State," end quote. We must be proactive, visionary, exercise ongoing vigilance, perseverance, be committed, be dedicated, take risks, interrupt oppressive acts. Tolerance is not enough. Maintaining the status quo fails in achieving social justice. It requires work in combination with respect, honesty, trust, active listening for understanding, suspending judgment, empathy, walking in someone else's shoes. Congratulations once more to our faculty staff recipient, Dr. Myra Gordon, whose tireless efforts through her distinguished visionary leadership on behalf of the Office of Diversity, K-State, our students, and community have provided a solid foundation for our future. And congratulations once more to our student recipient, the incredibly talented and creative Justice Davis, whose star and future shines brightly. And thank you again to our selection committee, to Tom Giller and the Commerce Bank, the Office of Diversity, and the Provost's Office. Our ongoing goal remains achieving unity in community. If we are truly a family, the K-State family, we are called to walk the walk with all of our sisters and brothers, lift up each other, be advocates and allies for each other. At times, this may not be the safe route or the popular path, but it is the one we are morally and ethically bound to travel. If not now, then when? If not us, then who? Thank you all for attending.
Thank you very much. And if we could just have our recipients to come to the front and we can get one picture. And the rest of you, please enjoy the refreshments. And thank you for your attendance. So if Dr. Gordon and Justice, if you could come to the front and we get one picture. You want them here?